Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. Yes, we are 1 minute after 10. I know we promised you all on Twitter that it would be 10 p.m. sharp, but we were just finalising a few things. And when I say we, I mean me and FPL Mariner, who's also here with me. Mariner, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I've got a week off, so it's quite nice.
I can see that glow about you. Is that because of your fantastic game week 9 score?
Well, that was okay. I did all right. I was quite happy with that. It's probably to do with the amount of alcohol I've drank for the last week.
Yeah, how can we forget? I hope you had a good birthday week. I saw the pictures, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
well, back to the FPL. Game week 10 is upon us, and yeah, I mean, you had a decent game week 9. And look, we're going to go over that team. We're also going to talk about what your plans are for game week 10. But we also have an interesting little segment today where we did have one of our regulars, Abhilash, who had a question about his wildcard, which he's playing this week. So we're going to do our best. We're going to help him out and see how we can help him, give him some advice and how he can improve his team. But we're going to go straight into it with game week 9. And we'll get your team up just as we go. There it is, game week 9. Mariner, talk to us.
Yeah, so, it was the second good week on the trot, so I feel like I'm making some ground now. Not quite as many positive returns as previous week, but still 5 returns. Robbo, Chilwell, Son, DCL and Kane. So holding on to the Spurs assets worked. DCL... I wish I had more courage in my cat's convictions and actually picked him as captain like the cat did for a couple of people. But but I went with Bruno, and again Bruno returned. So I have to say I did watch it on catch up, and I nearly put my foot through the TV when he missed. But thankfully it was retaken and he got the points. So yeah, all things considered, very very happy. Up to 216,000. Martinez. Yeah, well, Grealish, I'm a bit concerned now. Rodriguez, I'll come on to him in a minute. Bamford was unlucky, and KWP is just KWP. I think he's all right. And I mean, Souček's still doing bits on the bench. Had Dallas on the bench this time, who managed to squeak a clean sheet. And this is interesting because I wouldn't have bet them to get a clean sheet.
Yeah,
not the way Leeds have been. So from my perspective, that was interesting. Of course, Lamptey got sent off, but I benched him anyway. Yeah. So not too bad. I think it was one of those weeks where obviously getting the captain was very important, but it was also one of those weeks I think where patience is a bit of a virtue, and I think that's an important lesson for people. It's not always the need to jump quite as aggressively as we do. So that's where I went anyway. So quite happy, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, 77 points. You've got to be happy with that. Yeah. Just going to touch on a couple of players. I mean, we know the ones that did really well for you, Robert, your Chilwells, your Sons, and so on. But just coming to the Aston Villa assets, who we were hyping up, just before game week 9 in the preview to game week 9, and they really let us down. Are they still a stick for you? What does your metrics say? I mean, I know it could be too early to jump off since we just got on there, but the likes of Grealish, Watkins if you have him, Martinez, Mings, Target, Barkley got injured as well, which isn't good. I mean, what do we do with Villa assets?
Well, my feeling is regarding Grealish is watch this space. I'm certainly a little bit concerned about the lack of Barkley. I think that was very noticeable that he seemed to play wider, and the pitch and the heat maps actually showed that as well. Yeah. So from that perspective, I'm a little bit concerned. He's still a standout player, and they still have great fixtures coming up. So he's going nowhere for now, and hopefully Barkley's not out for too long. We'll have to see what they say in the press conference. Martinez again, I'm convinced he's going to get a couple of clean sheets in these fixtures coming up. Although Newcastle may have Callum Wilson back by the time we get to game week 11. But then they've got Burnley and West Brom, and West Brom, quite frankly, are toothless, and Burnley perhaps started to show a little bit more this week. And poor old Joe finally saw the Wood goal.
One that we never thought we'd see.
No. So I think, being honest, I don't think I've been moving them on just yet. But Villa's defence has started to leak. So as a goalkeeper, I'm all right with Martinez because he'll probably get some save points, or I hope he will. Whereas as for the defenders, whilst the defenders still show fantastic value, you've got to remember that it's value from before, not going forwards. So you're looking at what they've done, not what they're going to do. Yeah. And if you look at the last 3 games, they have now gone more of a mid-table sort of defence rather than as a standout one.
Yeah, and James Rodriguez obviously, came straight from his international break, a long journey from South America. That could be, a reason why he didn't probably shine as much as we thought he would. But Everton do have tasty fixtures in the next few weeks, so that's definitely a keep. Or is it? We'll find out. We'll find out when Mariner unveils his plans for game week 10. Bamford, definitely. I mean, he's so central to everything that Leeds do when they attack. They looked fantastic going forward against Arsenal, didn't they? So you always back him to get a goal. I thought he's really unlucky, to be fair.
Yeah, and I was surprised that he hit the inside of the post and it stayed out. So that was really sad, really. And that was one of those ones which could go the other way, of course.
Yeah.
He has to be, him and Watkins, that they are super value. And I'm convinced, I hope obviously the Barkley issue going back to that, doesn't impact them too much. Because I think the Watkins move is a really good move. He's not out of my thoughts yet. But I'm very happy with my front line. Very happy with it at the moment.
Okay. 77 points for you. Fantastic OR rank. Game week rank 501. It doesn't really get better than that. It's as good as you can hope for before the start of game week 9. And we're going to go straight to your game week 10 now and look at your transfer plans for it.
Well, if anybody could make any sense of it, yeah.
So we're just going to tell the viewers out there, if you're watching, these are by no means finalised yet. They're still under consideration. So Mariner does have a tough 24 hours ahead of you, just over 24 hours before the next game week. So you got decisions to make. It's going to be a stressful night tonight, no doubt. But yeah, Rodriguez to Jota, you've done that. Are there potential other transfers that you're going to make? I mean, talk us through the Rodriguez to Jota. I mean, we know Jota's been fantastic. He came in for Salah last week due to Salah's positive COVID test, obviously. Salah is back. He played yesterday. Liverpool drew a blank at home. Only had 1 shot on goal, none on target. Is that worrying for you?
Not really. I still think the Brighton fixture is a fantastic fixture on paper. But just first of all, looking at the Jota move, Jota is...
I'm just going to pause you before you start on that because...
Oh, we've got this Joe here. Hey!
There he is. Because due to popular demand, and I've seen your comments on the side here, he is here. Managed to drag him away from it. And he saw the comments, so he thought, he's going to jump on. So here he is, Joe for you, everyone.
I'm just looking who shamed him. Who shamed him? Who was it? We give him
We got bored after 5 minutes with you, Mariner.
Someone's felt sorry for me that I'm going to have to talk too much.
So, we'll get back to it. And Rodriguez to Jota, talk us through Jota coming in.
I mean, look, Jota's just great value, right? Even with rotation, he is an extremely good asset. Average 2.3 shots in the box away from home, 1.9 shots on target per 90 minutes. You can't get much better than that for the price that he is. But I would stress that I've done it with an ace in my back pocket, and that's Souček.
Yeah.
So I've done it with that thought process, in that I'm not just leaving myself, a bench fodder to potentially come in. I've actually got an asset who can come on and can, potentially challenge Jota for his position. So in my side. So that's that side of it. I mean, I can come on to the Liverpool side of the matchups things a little bit more when we talk about captaincy a bit later. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But no, just Jota on his own, very, very good value. And I think that's the reason why. And of course, I need some cash because I've got to get the heavy hitters in. And
over the next few weeks.
That's giving me a super headache at the moment, trying to work out which order I'm going, who's coming in where, who's departing. And I think the idea at the moment is, I think the advice I would give to anybody listening is just make sure you've got one or two routes to get to these players, because you never know. I think Joe's the same. We both probably thought a couple of weeks ago we're going to get rid of Robertson.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not sure that I am. I thought I was going to get rid of Kane. Now I'm not sure I am. So it looks like it might be Sky. I think it's going to be one of Son or Kane, I think, who will ultimately depart. But obviously the KDB news now, it's even more entertaining, or it sounds even nicer, is the fact that Pope's out.
Yeah.
So Pope Farrell, who sat on my bench, is going to come on against. Is going to have to go to quick sticks against City. So again, how much is that going to affect Burnley? So maybe now the KDB move might be more likely.
Okay. Pope's out. I didn't know Pope's out.
Yeah, he's just head injury apparently. Said he was injured against Crystal Palace, and Deitch has just been on. It was on Twitter a few minutes ago that Deitch said he's in the press conference that he's probably not going to be fit. Wow. I mean, the other issue I've got, of course, is the fact that even though Chris Wood finally scored, Joe, I haven't got any Man City defence, and this is where I was going to go with Robertson. But now I can't see the point in taking Robertson out against Brighton, with Fulham coming up in a couple of weeks as well, and possibly Crystal Palace. I think it's possibly 3 clean sheets there, and even Wolves, even 4 clean sheets. Yep. So that's my problem. The issue is you just can't have everybody, right?
Yeah, well, that is the thing. Yeah, go on, Joe.
I mean, previously I was trying to justify getting rid of Robo for probably Cancelo or Diaz, but just after what he did last game week, he reminded all of us of what he's capable of, and the fixtures are actually pretty decent, So I don't think I'm getting rid. Most probably I'll get rid of Semedo after the Arsenal match. But yeah, it looks like Robo is staying my team as well.
So still a big heavy hitter in defense for you there, Joe. We're going to talk about one of the guys you mentioned just now, Souček. The thing with Jota is, you're never guaranteed that he's going to start. I mean, with Salah coming back, which we saw last night, he went straight into the first 11. Yes, it was a bit blunt. Yes, he looked a little bit rusty. But where does Jota fit in that? And even if he doesn't start, it's more than likely that he comes off the bench.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But I think Jota for 30 minutes, even then against the tiring side, I think is still well worth considering against these weaker teams. At the end of the day, you've got to make some sacrifices to be able to find a way to get these heavy hitters in. If I'm holding Robertson, So I'm basically treating Robertson as a 7 million midfielder. So with an attacking potential and a chance for clean sheets, he could really do very, very well. And he doesn't have the rotation risk of a Cancelo. Because Cancelo, to me, has a rotation risk. He's probably got a similar threat, or maybe not quite as much a threat, but he's clearly got great fixtures. But you see the bench last night. There was Mendy and Zinchenko on the bench. Last night. So that's another thing which is starting to just give me the willies a little bit about Man City. I could have moved for a Man City defender and I decided to sit and wait. So at the moment, I'm okay. I think I'll stick with Robbo and just hope he returns a couple. But yeah, you can't have them all. That's the problem.
Yeah, we mentioned the potent news. How likely are you to make that -4 and pull the trigger and take that hit for this coming week?
More likely than not.
More likely than not. Okay, Joe, we don't have your team up just yet. You able to get it up while we have a quick look at yours?
Just let me because I'm trying for the first time to stream off the desktop.
Okay, no worries. While you're doing that, I'll just come to Mariner. If you were to take that hit, you're more than likely to bring KDB in. Is it a straight captain? Do you put the armband straight on him, or is it still a toss up between him and Bruno or DCL? I mean, you missed out. I mean, DCL, fantastic. I mean, it was something that you did mention. You did, say, this could be the one. DCL could be the one to captain this week. You were right. You didn't follow your, you didn't follow your instinct there. But yeah, Joe did. Joe took that tip and then benefited from it. But KDB for you, straight away, armband on him.
I think. Look, I'll go on to my metric in a minute. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. He doesn't like him still.
Oh, are you talking about DCL? Are you?
No, he don't like KDB.
KDB.
The reason
he doesn't like him is he's just not had the form.
Yeah.
So because he's not had the form, he's got the fixture, but he hasn't got the form. Whereas the other players have got both, or and even some matchups as well. If you think about, I'll go on to it in a few minutes. So, but I mean, look, it's my instinct. If I take a hit to captain that player, that's what I tend to do. So it's very likely if I bring him in, I will go against my metric and captain him.
But I mean, Chris or Mariner, actually, for KDB's case, although he didn't have the output that we were looking for, but I think his stats and his key passes and big chance created, I think those are pretty decent as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's on the way. He's not far off. I'll show you. Do you want to move to it now? Whilst we're messing.
Whilst we're talking about it, get it up.
Yeah, whilst we're on it, I may as well go on to it, haven't I?
Yeah.
So there's the metric. So you can see KDB here is what in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. It's not basically what we're looking at. You see, the problem is the lack of returns, and obviously it takes into account the expected points as well. But the fixture is so big, it makes such a big impact. Okay. So from my perspective, that's the reason why he probably sits where he does. But if you look at Salah, for example, Salah he's got the fixture, he's got the returns. Two plus returns in the last 9 or 8 games. So he's got a 25% chance of that haul. He's got a good fixture. So it's not surprising he's going to be up there. I mean, Liverpool had an XG of 4.3 against Leicester in one game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ignore that, and that was without him.
Yeah.
Albeit a very poor Leicester side.
Yeah. But that's said. So anyway, moving on to Leicester, Vardy has fixtures. He has the fixture. He has the form, albeit a lot of it is penalties, but it's still points, right?
Yeah.
Fulham concede a lot of chances through the middle. Shout out to FPL Lens again for his matchups this week. If you don't read the article, read it. It's brilliant. So he's going to be in the right place, like DCL was, right? He's going to be in the right place to put these chances away. Now, interestingly, Mane makes an appearance onto the metric. And the reason he's making it again is the fixture. But also, it looks like with Lamptey missing out, he may have quite a tasty matchup against Veltman. So that might be quite useful. And that's also another reason why I'm holding Robertson, because I think he might also benefit from that weakness down the down the right side.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the top three are. Just very quickly touching on the other ones. DCL is clearly still got a very, very tasty fixture against Leeds, but Phillips is back.
Yeah.
And that, I think that might temper it slightly, but I still wouldn't be surprised if it isn't a high-scoring game.
Yeah. I mean, Leeds were fantastic last week, weren't they?
Yeah,
they really were.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Grealish we've already spoke about. Bruno, it doesn't like him. The fixture, okay. It's you've noticed on the FDR, which is there. It shows, that they don't. This fixture, this matchup between Manchester United going forwards and Southampton's defensively, is much tighter than people think.
Correct.
Okay. Now, of course, Southampton, everyone immediately says, well, Southampton, they have this high line, blah, blah, blah. Bruno will do really well. But to be honest, since that, they haven't played that high line. So they're now a completely different beast. Fifth best for big chances conceded in the league. But they do concede a lot of headed chances, so it might help Bruno as well. But Man U don't create many. So could it be a set piece which actually breaks them down this week? Could it be a Maguire goal?
Yeah. And usually, more often than not, it's Bruno on those set pieces.
Yeah. Or
Tellers now.
So that's my possible shout out for a bit of a differential goal this week. I think I'm going to go with Maguire. And then KDB, he's a bit off. As I say, he's a bit off the boil. So, but I have adjusted the metric, and it has brought him much closer. I did the metric a couple of minutes ago. Actually, just adjusted it slightly for Burnley. So it has brought him closer. But look, let's not forget, and this is where the gut comes in. How many times have Burnley got absolutely spanked at the Etihad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a couple of 5-0s, I think it was, and that's when we were priding Burnley on their defensive aspect of the game.
So I reckon discount him at your peril. I think discount Man City at your peril, but it could be an absolutely golden differential.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Joe, I'm going to come to you and your team. This was your game week 9 team. 80 points for you, captain. You captain DCL. You listened to the cat, the magical cat, and it worked. It worked. In
Oliver saved me. Oliver saved me.
He is. Where is he? Where is he? He's meant to make an appearance. Yeah, we'll wait for him. But yeah, while we wait for Oliver, just talk us through your team.
I think the main talking point was I think after the show. Actually, during the show, Mariner mentioned FPL Lens's matchup, and immediately I was really drawn to DCL, and I would say the cat did some to push me over the edge. I remember even posting up the matchup with Fernandez as my captain. And I saw what Oliver did, and I said, heck, I'm going for it, So I went for DCL. And
there he is.
Off.
There he is, the man of the moment, Oliver.
There you go. So I think other than the other players, I think that was the talking point of my game week. And another one is Sterling. Sterling was a failed punt, but then again, the other choice, KDB, wasn't far off either with 2 points. Yeah. But at least he came in to block the Lemty sub. So I guess I got lucky as well. But going forward, this is, most probably I'm going to do Son to KDB. Firstly, because after knowing he was rested for the Champions League match, and also now like during the show I find out that Pope is out, So most probably I'll be doing that. But whether will I captain him, that's still another question that I need to ask myself. I've seen FPL Lens's matchup article. He actually rates Sterling in this matchup, so that's probably something I need to look at, because last season I've been burned by Sterling as a captain more often than not. But he did give me some pretty sweet captain hauls, especially post restart. But still not sure. Still quite on the fence about it, because Sterling, I think he played on the right yesterday, and he got an assist. So who knows? Maybe it might help spark his season.
He got the assist on the left hand side to our good friend Joe. To our good friend Phil Foden, who has burnt more times than I do in the kitchen. But I mean, it's absolutely crazy with that Foden situation. He performs so well in these Champions League matches, and then struggles to get into the first 11 on the weekend. And it's not like City are flying by any stretch of the imagination. They are lacking something, and could that something be Phil Foden?
Yeah, could be, but I'm just quite baffled, Obviously, I hope he's continued to stay on the bench since I already sold him. but just quite baffling, because even prior to the last week, he did really well for England.
Yeah, and 2 goals.
Yet he's still benched. Yeah. So I have no idea. But actually, the 1-0 scoreline against Olympiacos doesn't really reflect on the performance. They actually had 22 shots and probably like 10 or 11 on target, because I remember I checking on the Champions League fantasy. Jose Sa, the Olympiacos goalkeeper, had 10 saves. It's crazy. Wow. So they are actually trying to. I mean, they are actually getting the chances. So without Nick Pope, who knows?
Without Nick Pope, with KDB to come into it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Walker coming in as well, bombing on the flank.
Possibly Cunagüero. He was on the bench last night.
Yeah. But who knows? Peacock Farrell, I think he is pretty decent as well, if I'm not mistaken, for his country. And Burnley, you will be surprised. Actually, why Nick Pope came to become an FPL gem in the first place, because he was also replacing an injured goalkeeper, and then he just went on to be the first choice. Yeah. So who knows? Peacock Farrell might pull a blinder, So, but I mean, for all our sakes, we hope that he doesn't,
Yeah. So for your transfer, you're looking to bring in KDB for possibly Son, but something you still haven't done yet. So you've got just over 24 hours to make that change. While we were tweeting out and mentioning that we were going to do our show, we had a very interesting reply that come back, and that's from one of our regulars, Abhilash. And Abhilash, told us, or informed us rather, that he was playing his wildcard this week. He asked for a little bit of help. So Abhilash, nothing more than we'd love to do than give you some help on your wildcard. And we've got your team up here, the one that you sent in to us. Boys, Abhilash needs our help. Mariner,
right. Okay.
Talk us through it.
Right. The first thing then, so because I'm on leave this week, I've got a bit of time. So there we go. There's my first red cross. I would take Steer out for somebody like Button, and the reason is you wouldn't want 3 West Brom. Okay. But you might possibly want 3 Villa at some stage. And I've noticed a few people being blocked, haven't they?
Yeah.
Trying to do this.
Show it.
Not the first time. It's happening. Yeah. So, I think it's a very small point, but that's what the first thing I would do. the next point I would raise would be Justin. His time is numbered. The fixtures are good. The fixtures are good.
Yep.
But how many of these fixtures is he going to get?
Pereira's back in training.
He is. But I still think he might be good for another couple. So if you've got a plan, perhaps to move Justin down in a couple of weeks to somebody else. Now, the person who I actually have looked at, who has a couple of nice fixtures and is very cheap, is Jamal Lewis at Newcastle. But look, he is in this case probably a second bencher maybe, which might be a bit more problematic because the situation is here. If you move it forward, with my other queries here, there isn't a great deal of strength there. So my concern is this isn't COVID friendly. You know, you've not given yourself a chance to take the vaccine. You're an anti-vaxxer. So
love it.
So with that in mind, I would be looking at trying to free up some cash, probably Justin down to somebody like, it could be Lewis, it could be Kilman at Wolves, who again is a starter. But I do think if you could find 0.3, then upgrade Gordon perhaps to somebody like Bissouma. Because
I think a little bit more you can get Souček as well, right?
Yeah, but you've got to find a bit more money. That means wiping something else out. And this is the problem because you could. I think Chilwell's very important these days. I like the Manchester City defender. I like Kufal. I think his midfield's fantastic, and that's why he's paying the price elsewhere. Calvert-Lewin and Vardy, great, But if you look at that structure, you're playing. If you're playing, you're either playing 4-3-3, aren't you? Or if Justin's not available, you're playing 3-4-3, and then Brewster's starting every week. Yeah. So this is a bit of a challenge. It's a very, very good midfield, but it does leave you weak elsewhere because Bernardo and Gordon are effectively junk. Bernardo played hardly. I think Gordon's played 31 minutes in the season.
Yeah.
So that would be my main concerns there.
Just looking at that team, Joe. I mean, yes, Calvert-Lewin and Vardy, fantastic FPL assets. But if you had to find that bit of money, like Mariner's been saying, would a downgrade from Vardy down to maybe like a Werner or maybe even a Tammy Abraham, now he's getting minutes, would that be something you consider to free up a lot more funds for the spread of your team?
Yeah, because actually I'm looking at Vardy as well. Because if you look at, agree on all points Mariner was mentioning, but you still have Brewster, which actually started on the bench last game week. So you'll be struggling to even fill a full starting 11. Pereira, I think, I don't know, because the fixtures are kind. Who knows? He might get to start as well, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was on the bench last game week, if I'm not mistaken. But he's back full training, and like Mariner said, this team is not as COVID friendly as we hope. COVID doesn't just occur during the international break. Just look at Zaha; he got positive, even without traveling. So I would probably, sad to say, you need to choose one. But thankfully, you can attack the fixtures if you are looking at. But you can attack the fixtures by keeping Vardy as in this week, and probably you need to drop either Bruno or even Salah. But usually on a wild card, I don't really recommend planning the transfers for the next week already.
No.
You would want to put in a wild card team. Yeah, and save that transfer immediately to have 2 free transfers on the following game week. So in lieu of that, I will probably drop Vardy.
To a Bamford.
Yeah, Bamford. Why not? Bamford. He seems. I mean, he's really consistent in racking up the stats. He only needs to put them away. But downgrading to Bamford, you have loads of cash. You can even bring Brewster up to probably like Watkins or even Adams, and then you can upgrade even Justin. Justin, you can upgrade to if you still fancy Leicester's fixtures, you can even bring in like Castagna.
There's him, or there's the other option is there's obviously Telles now. Like and Manchester United have really tightened up their fixture, their defence, so he would be a good option. So yeah, maybe. Speaking of, maybe his ears are burning across in the
sky. I just seen it.
But Gabriel's on now, so hi, FPL Lens, mate. How are you? I hope you're all right, buddy. And
I was just going to drop that in and just say that he suggested a 4-4-2 for this team.
And you can see that, and I think Brewster. I think they've got West Brom this week as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you never know. You never know. It might be his week. I think I'd start him.
Well, if there was ever a week you were gonna do it, it would be.
You can't have him in your team and not start him. If you've got Brewster this week, you've got to play him.
I mean, the only thing with Sheffield United after watching them is the lack of chances created, and they're just they're not really creating any chances for someone like Brewster to tuck away, and it's frustrating. As a striker, you make that big money move from Liverpool with the hope of getting games, and then you come to a team which is, playing nowhere near to your strengths, and it's always it's always tough. But okay, so finally, downgrade Vardy for the benefit of the whole team. Upgrade Justin, Gordon, and Bernardo. Yeah, we good with that?
That's something like that. I certainly think we need to do. You need to give yourself a bit. We've also got fixtures coming thick and fast in a few weeks' time, where teams which have been used to only playing once a week are now going to be playing 2 and 3 times a week, and so all the rotation which we never had with the West Hams and teams like that of this world and the Villas, this is going to come. So we've got to make sure that we've got at least 2 playing subs in my opinion. I mean, I'm going to try and keep 3. I did consider going down as low as Douglas, who is not even in the Premier League now, as 3.8 million for one of my options. But I quickly changed my mind on that because I want to have 3 playing. I'd sooner have the selection headache than a COVID headache.
Yeah. Abhilash, in hearing what we've had to say, says, I was looking at 4-4-2, but I get the point on the junks. COVID could strike my team badly. OP Quinn goes 4-4-2 or 3-5-2. Lots of strikers are in midfield. He has a point there. A lot of strikers in the game are classified as midfielders, so could be something worth monitoring.
Clean sheet points for Bruno, for De Bruyne, for Salah. As well, extra points for goals. Yeah, I mean, what's not to like? There's a lot of very, very nice things in this team. I just think you just need to. There's probably one move you've got to make from more expensive
to free up all the funds.
One move, and I think then you're pretty much there, and that then gives you that opportunity. Like I said, perhaps that extra, more expensive defender.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Sorry, Mariner. Just sorry to interrupt, but he does have Salah there. Would a downgrade to Jota? I mean, that would free up about 6 million there, or something along those lines.
But then you're going to bring him back, aren't you?
If Jota secures his place in that team up front in place of Firmino,
I'll have them both by game week 12.
Fair enough. And then there's that. FPL matchup, breaking news. Pope is injured. Yes, we knew that. If you tuned in earlier on the show, we did say that. So you clearly weren't watching. KDB captain confirmed. Yep, I think a lot of us are looking towards that, or captaining a City asset, whether it's KDB or Sterling. Gabriel FPL Lens goes Brewster, Kilman, Suchek for the 3 subs, covers Abilesh well for fixture crunch and COVID. Yep, those were the names that we did bring up. So thank you for the confirmation there, FPL Lens. And Abilesh, I hope this has been helpful to you, not only by our 2 pundits here, but FPL Lens jumped in to help you out as well. So some really good, valuable advice for you to go home. You've got, just over 24 hours to get your team sorted. Do be in touch with us on Twitter, as you always are. And I'm sure the boys will confirm your team or verify it before the deadline. We're going to go next to our usual segment. This is a segment where we entertain questions from the FPL community, questions that you bring to us, us 3. And we do our best, or the pundits do their best to answer them. We're going to start with the Vardy boys, and his question was, he'd like to hear your thoughts on which option is preferred. Number 1, Kane and Rashford to Salah and Vardy for a hit, or Rashford to Bruno.
Kane and Rashford to who?
Kane and Rashford to Salah and Vardy for a hit. Right. Or number 2 is Rashford to Bruno.
Well,
tough one.
It is, because the upside is Salah and Vardy, clearly. Rashford to Bruno is maybe a little bit sideways in some senses for me. So I think I think maybe I might, if you're going to captain one of them, then I might do it. I'm probably taking a hit. Well, I'm virtually certain to be taking a hit now, and I may be locking in another hit by 12 as well. What I'm trying to do in that time is make plenty of money by chasing upsides. And plenty of points, I should say, by chasing upsides. And hopefully that will, that'll offset these hits, because I'm a little bit hit adverse normally, but I think this is the time where I think you've got to move very quickly when things start to happen. So I don't see Vardy is good for probably 2 to 3 games. 3 games, 2 to 3. Sheffield United next, isn't it? So after that, I think. So that said, I think that's another relatively reasonable fixture for Vardy. And I'm sure I read somewhere that he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Is he? He used to be at the academy.
So if he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, because I think somebody said he celebrated rather extravagantly when he scored against Sheffield United previously. So it was the owl.
just to confirm, Leicester's next 3 fixtures: it's Fulham this weekend, Sheffield United the weekend after, and Brighton and Hove Albion in game week 12. So nice fixtures for Vardy.
But then you might be looking at, but the good thing about Vardy is that because you've got a player at that sort of price point, it allows you to move to Aguero, or to somebody like back to Kane.
Yeah.
And that's why that forward at that 10 million sort of price point actually is quite a nice thing to have in your structure of your team. Because I certainly, if I move away from Kane, and I'm not certain I will, but if I did move away from Kane, then I would be looking at bringing him back by about game week 15 or 16, when their fixtures start to turn friendly again. And I think that's a very important point. So I have no problem with a premium forward in anyone's team structure at the moment.
Okay, so just to reiterate, if you're going to captain, if you're captaining one of Salah or Vardy, go for it. Take that hit. The Rashford to Bruno is too much of a sideways move, in both of your opinions. So number 1 it is, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. FPL Hafiz asked KDB or Salah as captain choice this week. We've spoken about Pope's injury. Your metric says no to KDB though, Mariner. It says a massive yes to Mo Salah.
Like Salah,
Joe, on the other hand, you might potentially be bringing in KDB.
KDB and captain him.
And captaining him. So we've got a toss up between the metric and instinct. Where's the cat when we need him?
Yeah. We'll get him lined up tomorrow. I'll get them. I've got this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
So yeah, if I had to put you on the spot, guys, right now, it's basically metric over instinct, or metric versus instinct rather. KDB versus Salah. Joe, who would you go for?
KDB.
KDB straight up, and Mariner.
KDB's due.
Okay, there we go. KDB it is. FPL Hafiz, you got your answer. FPL Macho, who's watching right now. Who do you bench between Kufal, Target, and Dallas? In brackets, Martinez is his goalkeeper.
Kufal.
Do you want to go first? I'll go. I've done.
Yeah, go for it, Joe. So he's got Kufal, Target, and Dallas. Martinez is his goalkeeper. So he's already got a Villa defender. He's already got a Villa goalkeeper. He's asking, should he get a West Ham defender in Kufal, a Villa defender in Target, or a Leeds defender in Dallas? Who should he bench?
I'll probably. Based on what I've heard, I'll probably bench Dallas because
he's playing in midfield though, isn't he?
But they are playing. Is he still playing in midfield?
He is. Yeah, he is. Alioski's at left back.
Oh man,
I've got a bad reputation, haven't I? See the comments coming in.
Oh
yeah, because I probably fancy Everton scoring in this one, so I'll probably. But doubling up with Martinez against West Ham away, it's a bit tricky as well. So is Antonio coming back?
Well, he could potentially. Yeah, I believe he was training last week. Wasn't fit enough to play. But yeah, he could potentially be back.
Yeah.
So who was the first? Who was the first person again?
So you got
Kufal.
Oh, Kufal. Okay.
Dallas.
Wow, Kufal. Probably Target.
Bench Target, yeah. Okay. Joe says bench Target. Mariner, over to you.
I'm not sure. I think that whilst Villa have certainly come off a little bit, I think it's going to be whether Antonio starts for me or not. I think that was actually my perspective. If Antonio's not there, I don't know if I would take the chance.
Can I just we've got to bear in mind that Haller did score an absolute screamer last weekend.
Well, that's it then.
Sorry?
That's it then. That's his goal.
That's it. He's done for the season.
A bit like Chris.
Yeah, he's done
With all seriousness, I think looks like Kufal, not really. I don't like. I'm not so keen on that matchup. Dallas is not a very good matchup defensively, but a good matchup going forwards. So, yeah, it's a very tough one. It's very tough. Is it one benching, or is it we just got to bench one?
Yeah, bench one.
I bench Kufal.
So Mariner says bench Kufal. Joe says bench Target. So there you have it, FPL Matcha. We haven't actually made it any easier for you. So do what you want with that. But it looks like it's going to be a flip of the coin. But one thing that OP Quinn says, and I agree with him, Dallas has to start. And I think we all agree with that.
This week. It's starting for me this week.
Okay, so Dallas has to start. Toss up between Kufal and Target from our pundits. So it will really be over to you to decide that one. Laz FPL, I think it might have been him that was watching on the stream. I'm not sure if he's still on, but it might have been him that watched the stream from the start. He asked, which defenses should we target for the next run of fixtures before Christmas? Now, bear in mind, that's for the next month. So there's a lot of games in between from now till Christmas time. But who should he be looking at for defense?
Right. Well, I think this is pretty obvious. I think the big three.
Yep.
The big three.
I wouldn't look any further than Liverpool, Manchester United, and Manchester City.
So Manchester United, Manchester City, and
Liverpool.
And Liverpool.
I think Liverpool are going to. I think that the fixtures, the fixtures they've got, the other team's got to get the ball to score, right?
Yeah. You'd think so. You'd think so.
I mean, that's just the way I look at it. Certainly, I think Liverpool fixtures starting to turn. But, Manchester United have changed massively, right? They've really rapidly changed into a much, much more robust, solid defensive unit. Manchester City, I'm petrified of not having a Manchester City defender, but I can't decide which one to go on to.
Yeah.
Villa are on the wane. Everton, who were good at the start of the season, are on the wane.
Yeah.
So Chelsea is still okay, and it's pretty strong. So if you've got Chilwell, is another decent option. So I do think you are starting to get to the point where you're looking for the more probably this 5.5 price point is a nice price point. That's my perspective. So I would be looking. If you can stretch to Robertson, I think he's a midfield basically, isn't he? With options for clean sheet, and then you've got players like Telles. You've got Castagne at Leicester as well for a short run, potentially. So I think you are looking in the top 8. I think you're looking in that top chunk now.
I might like to throw one name in the pot as well. Bellerin.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh,
yeah.
I'm remiss for forgetting Bellerin. Yes. He is
5.1 million, and decent Arsenal defense and decent matchup. They're playing Wolves this coming weekend at home, and after that they play Spurs away. That'll be tricky, but then that's the North London derby, so things will go quite everybody's parking the bus or everybody's going all out. Then after that they're playing Burnley, so Burnley.
Chris Wood.
Yeah.
Chris Wood after incoming.
You know it. You just know it's going to happen at some point. So we're going to look at some of the questions that have been coming through on our comments while we've been doing this stream. We haven't ignored you. We know the questions were there, but we just had so much to do, so much to cover while the stream was going on. But I'm going to just go back and look through it. One of the questions that came through, by the way, Mariner, a lot of love for Oliver. A lot of love for Oliver. Yeah. So we might have to do a whole new show based around him. I mean, it's getting to that kind of love right now.
Yeah.
There we go. He's got the call. So Abhilash asks, you guys reckon Kun will start versus Burnley? If he does, I'll sit back and monitor and bank him for Fulham. Jesus or Kun Aguero to start up front over the weekend for you guys, or even Torres there for it could be Ferran Torres.
That's a good point actually, because it could be him, and he could all of a sudden. It may be that he all of a sudden jumps onto our radar in the coming days.
Yeah,
I've got a funny feeling about him. I daren't do it, but I've got a funny feeling about him. I mean, Aguero. Joe and I have had a chat about this week. One of my options was perhaps considering Aguero, and Joe just said, "It's a trap, man."
Yeah,
and he might well be now, but. Because I think Pep is going to just nurse him back in, right? I think, let's be honest. I think, I think if I had to pick between Aguero and Jesus at the moment, it would be Jesus.
Yep.
I think he's going to play more. I'm not sure I would pick either of them.
Okay. Navin Jaya.
Keep an eye out. I think we'll know a lot more after this weekend, and probably is there another Champions League next week, or is there one more next week, or is it week after?
I think it's next week. I think it's
right.
Next week.
If it's next week, then we'll probably know a heck of a lot more by this time next week.
Yeah. Okay. Navin reaches out to us and he goes, Need some advice, fellas. Got a midfield of Rodriguez, Grealish, Son, Salah, and Zaha. Should I keep Rodriguez or ship him out for Fernandes? Will take a hit to degrade Zaha to Souček to free up some quid. Rodriguez does have some good fixtures coming up, but he doesn't seem to be raking up the points, although he's pulling the strings in midfield. Now, just before we come into that, in the press conference earlier, I think Roy Hodgson did confirm that Zaha will be missing. He'll be missing this game week as well. So, I mean, it's the only logical thing to do. He's got to come out straight away, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got to go. He's got to go. And I think decent. I think that's a decent move.
So downgrade Zaha to Souček. Does he keep Rodriguez or does he ship him out for Fernandes though?
Well, I've got rid of him.
Sorry?
I got rid of him.
You got rid of him. But you got rid of him for Jota, didn't you?
Yeah,
Did you do it for Fernandes?
I went for Jota. I mean, look. I mean, Fernandes is still. That's a more difficult one because I think if you know fires, you might want to just give him that chance against when they play Leeds. Yeah. So I think if that's the case, I think maybe give him that chance.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It depends. It's very much dependent on whether you're feeling ballsy enough to captain.
Southampton, like you said, is not an easy fixture for Fernandes.
But at the end of the day, he breaks my metric every single week.
Yeah.
he breaks my spreadsheets. You can't turn around and say to Fernandes, he's not, he's not going to go this week, blah blah blah. You can't say it. So if you're going to do it, bring him in and captain him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he did score 2 goals in midweek, and none of them were from the spot. Funnily enough, although he could have had one from the spot.
Yeah. He could have gotten his hat trick.
Joe, what would you be doing if you were in Navin's position?
It depends whether does he have DCL or not. I think if he has DCL, then probably he can go with Rodriguez. Yeah, but looking at the previous match, yes, Rodriguez is pulling the strings, but he's just not the last person.
Yeah.
He was just diagonal passes to Digne.
The assist of the assist.
Yeah, so it's quite frustrating. I'm pretty sure it was frustrating for Mariner to watch that night. So yeah.
I think he pulled the trigger straight after.
So I mean, if you have DCL, probably I'll just drop him and go for Fernandes, because Fernandes is the one that actually still literally, carries.
Week in, week out.
Yeah, carries United week in, week out. And he's on form as well.
Yeah.
So
okay, last few questions.
I would say it's a good move.
Last few questions before we wrap up the show. Gabriel, FPL Lens goes. Thoughts on selling assets that are producing? Well, that's very controversial. Kane now, maybe Vardy in a few game weeks, like Mariner mentioned. Go on, Mariner.
I mean, is the player you are bringing in going to score more than him? That's it, in my eyes. Now, look, the risk of taking somebody like Kane out, or Son out for that matter, is their ownership. Because a lot of people, I looked at the ownership a couple of days ago and it's still not really dropped. They're still very, very highly owned. If we take them out and then they go on another spree where I'm going to have to go and hide behind the sofa again, then like earlier in the season, then our ranks are going to absolutely tank. The problem is that the moves that are there, KDB, Vardy, Salah, are all great. Sterling are all very, very tasty moves. So it's form against fixtures. I think Kane will still be, for the next 5 or 6 weeks, one of the highest scoring players in the game. No doubt. But is Vardy going to outscore him for that period of time? And I think that's where it becomes a little bit more tricky. So I think if you need money to bring Salah back in, like perhaps I do, then I may consider it, because I will be getting something else on top of, rather than just considering, Kane with Vardy. I'll be looking at what Salah's doing as well. So I think that's where I would come from. I completely see what Gabe is. And it is a very, very risky. It's a very risky strategy. I think we can lose. I kept both Spurs last week.
Yeah.
I think we can possibly lose one. The issue is which one.
Which one? All right. Ablesh goes, guys, would Torres be a differential for Burnley and Fulham? Yes, we did touch upon that just now. It could well be, but it's something that we definitely need to monitor. Sorry if you're looking at my light is just playing up. It's going off and on for some weird reason. So just ignore that. But yeah, we did mention Torres just now. It's something that I think you should monitor. Probably wouldn't bring him in straight away, but monitor that over the next few weeks. I love this from Len's. Gabriel, Haller scoring even a broken clock is right twice a day. Absolute classic. I love that. Absolutely love that.
Brutal. So it's called brutal today.
That is quality. Absolute quality. Yeah. Aditya, hi. And I think that's it, guys. Thanks to everyone there for watching. Thank you, Mariner, for coming on the show as always. Joe, thank you. Even though you were a little bit late, I know you nearly didn't come on, but we managed to twist your arm. And I think the fans, you saw what the fans wanted. The fans wanted a bit of Joe, so we got him in. Thank you for coming on. And I saw you enjoying your McDonald's Sunday there. I was very jealous of that. I know.
I think we have one question by FPL Lens as well.
Do we? Oh, sorry. Totally missed that. Sorry, Lens. We'll answer that bit just before we close up the show. Who should I bench? Need to sit one of Telles and Chilwell. Sorry. Need to sit one of Telles at Southampton, Chilwell versus Tottenham, and Cresswell versus Villa. So that's a very tough one.
Why would you want to bench any of them?
Well, that's why my question to him was going to be, who are your two other defenders?
Must have a strong side. I think I've seen him actually.
Have you actually?
Lens likes matchups. I wouldn't bench Cresswell because I think West Ham are pretty good with they're creating a lot of headed chances, and if that's the case, then maybe Cresswell's going to be delivering it. So I don't know. I don't know whether I would play. I think so. Cresswell, I think I would play. So that then brings me to my next two: Telles or Chilwell.
You got to play Chilwell, I think. I mean, the way he gets forward and he's on set pieces as well. I think that's absolutely massive, and especially when you have someone like Zuma on the end of things, he's got to be an option.
I've just talked Telles up as well, haven't I?
Yeah, you did.
This is nearly impossible. I'm not sure. I think I'd get. What I'll do, Gabe, is I'll get the cat lined up.
Mariner, if in doubt, bring the cat out.
Yeah, get the cat out. Yeah, that's
Lens, we reckon you should play all three of them, and just whoever the other two is, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Bench them. Hi Aditya, we did answer your question. I think it was on Torres. Just trying to find it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Torres? Yeah, we did touch upon it. Do go back onto the show and listen through it. Hi Sean. Yeah. I think Torres is just someone to monitor right now. Over the next few weeks. Sean, yeah, you just come on. We're just about to leave actually. We've done a good hour. Navin says, get the cat a Twitter handle. Well, he's got his missus a Twitter handle, so I don't see why the cat won't have one soon.
She was here a minute ago. She just crawled in across the other side of the room to get something, then crawled back out again.
Well, she is the boss of the house. We know that, Mariner.
Yeah, so, she is. That's right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on an FPL Expectation stream. I hope we answered all your questions. If you have any other questions, don't forget to tweet us at FPL Expectations. You can tweet our experts handle personally at FPL Mariner, and you can tweet Joe as well. It's at Joe FPL. You can tweet myself, but I'll be absolutely no help to any of you. So I'll guarantee you on that. But if you want to drop me a message, you can. It's at Craig Marias 11. And if you aren't subscribing already, please do down below. Hit that subscribe button. Click the bell, get your notifications every time we put up a video. Mariner, I believe we're going to do one more before the deadline, and that's for the captaincy. Are we or are we not?
Well, I've just done it, so I mean, we can have. What am I doing tomorrow? I'm out. Saturday. Oh no, I can't tomorrow.
You can't.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to some friends for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to go.
No worries. All right, but we'll see, Joe, if you are free or someone. We'll try and do something for you if we can. If it's not going to be on our YouTube channel, we'll make sure it's on our Twitter handle.
Yeah.
So we might do a takeover or something.
Yeah, I was going to say I may have time to do one of those for the Asian crowd tomorrow lunchtime, perhaps. I don't know, something like that.
Okay, and that's all we have. Sorry for my light just playing up. I think it's a massive sign that we have to go. But thank you once again for watching. Do stay tuned to our Twitter handle for all our updates and as to when we're going to do our next show. Till then, take care and have a good weekend.